Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of This Week at Phillies Baseball. I'm your host, James Scorza, with you. And with me, as always, is a group of companions on this very important All-Star break edition of This Week at Phillies Baseball. Connor Ochuida and also Austin Hammel joining me this week. Gentlemen, how are we doing? Good to see you guys.
Doing good.
I'm doing pretty good. We get a first place ball club at the All Star break, so you can't really complain.
No, we really can't complain. That's the thing about it too. Obviously, we are on our social media platforms here on Facebook and also YouTube, and also check us out if you hit that like and subscribe button and everything about that included. Our good friend Mitch Kovsky joins us.
Yeah,
Says,
let's
"Let's go."
go.
Yeah, let's go. Exactly right. Also, before we go into our show here today, tune in every single weekday from Monday through Friday of the Morning Blitz with our good friend Adam Saint and James Russell, who are new part members of our show. So congratulations to the new morning show, and we are loved. We're actually glad to be with, and we are glad to be part of our show, and also all the best going forward in that included. All right, let's get into the topic of the day. And where do we start, guys? Because it feels like this Phillies team looked like it was on the outside looking in all this week. It started in San Francisco from Monday through was it Monday through Wednesday, obviously, or was a 4 game set? Was it a 4 game set or
Three,
3 games?
three,
Three
three.
game
It was
set.
a three,
Okay,
yeah.
because it felt like it was four because of all the eternity with the
Yeah.
bullpen and on top of it. But overall, let's begin the first question I want to ask you guys with this too. So it feels like it's been a house of horrors for this Phillies team taking on the Giants ever since that 2010 team. And it feels like ever since then, it just feels like on the outside looking in. So, Austin, I'll ask you the first question here. Why is it that we can never play well in San Francisco for the sake of this? Like,
I
why can't we just like win in San Francisco for the most important part more than anything?
I really don't know. It's one of those things remember how we were actually just before the show we were talking about the Phillies managers from like the 90s and stuff. Remember there was a point in time where we could not beat the Marlins to save our lives.
Right.
I feel like it's kind of the same thing. Like there's always that one team over the course of a couple of seasons that just always has your number, and it's San Francisco's turn to hold that ball. I believe going into the final game of that series, they said that San Francisco was 13-8 against Philadelphia at home. So
Yeah.
they've
Yeah.
been
Right.
they've been pretty impressive against Philadelphia in their own stadium. And honestly, there were quite a few fly balls in that series that just died at the wall. And it was just really rough to be able to see these guys get really solid contact and not be able to get the results that they had wanted on those fly balls to the outfield. A couple of them, there was one that I want to say it was actually in the third game of the series. It left Harper standing there looking because it just died as it got to the wall.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
San Francisco could be really brutal with that kind of stuff, and Philly just definitely got the rough end of it this time around.
Yeah, in a way, it feels like with this Phillies team, in every which way about what they have looked like, especially against teams like you mentioned a long time ago with the Marlins and even now with the Giants. It always feels like in any circumstance, in any way necessary, that they just do so bad in San Francisco. We can go back a ways, like the Tim Lincecums in the world, the Barry Zitos, Jonathan Sanchez, or even Brian Wilson, who had that fear of the
Oh
beard
God,
syndrome, or
Jesus.
Cody,
Yeah.
or Cody Ross. The list goes on and on. So like, I remember it very closely, my friend. I know it very well. I
Oh
haven't
yeah.
heard about. I haven't still hasn't still stick to my core about what those orange and black look like. No offense to our Flyers, but that team that just drove me crazy. But overall, Connor, I ask you the same question as too. I asked Austin, why is it that we cannot win in San Francisco for the sake of just this conversation?
For the sake of our sanity,
Yeah, there you go. That's a better word.
I have some theories. For me, it's really just like I think it might just be like an East Coast team traveling to the West Coast thing. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It might be the time difference. Like it's really confusing. Like
Oh yeah.
even when the Giants have some not so great years, they always get up for matchups against the Phillies for some unbeknownst reason. And so it's
Hmm.
like, all right. like that. It's just one of those things where you just chalk it up and say that's baseball.
Yeah, pretty much. For me, the thing that I want to say that stood out to me the most, obviously, the last game of the series was probably basically the one thing that was the X factor, because you think about the night before, Phillies had a 3-1 lead. Kyle Schwarber hitting that home run, giving the Phillies the lead, and then Jordan Romano turning into Jordan Romano again. Not only did it turn into a real complete utter shit show, it actually turned into an inside the Parker 3-run home run that gave the Giants the win. And right after that, I thought they were going to get swept, but they took the rubber match of that series on that Wednesday night, or Wednesday afternoon, I mean. So, more importantly than anything like that, I got to say right now, I think this was a bad series overall for the Phillies. I thought they didn't play well to the competition. Like you even brought up, Connor, with that road trip that they had with San Francisco and San Diego, and it looks like they don't very do well on the West Coast, like you even brought up here. But overall, I mean, I was glad to see them take the rubber match yesterday to the Padres, and I was good to see that now we're still in Phil's. The Mets are still lost a couple games up in Kansas City, which is a positive to go into the All-Star break. And more importantly than anything like that, I think that's going to be that's one thing that we got to keep a close eye on, especially in the later months when the time calls for us, like those counting the days, especially when that time calls for it to win that NL East. I mean, at least the Mets are continuing to lose games, and we can continue to gain more games in the process too. I mean, am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, especially as the months get further in, magic numbers start to pop up. You really want to make sure that you're in a really solid position getting into those final 2-3 weeks of the season where you have those chances to be able to clinch up.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's going to be the thing too. So moving on here, so let's get into. I was going to bring up our standout performances, but honestly, there was nothing to be standout about during the week. But I said to myself, maybe the one standout was that I guess Zach Wheeler actually looked like he pitched another gem on Saturday against the Padres, and he did a fantastic job in that week beforehand, especially against the Reds. But moving on here, as we can wait into the standout performances until something happens in the later weeks or so, especially if there's a standout performance at the end of the All-Star break, and we keep that in check. But this is a question I would like to ask you guys, since we're now going to be at the midway point of the season here. So, what would be the X factor for this Phillies team going forward in the later months of the season, especially when the time calls for it, to make the Phillies go into a deep postseason run? Connor, I'll ask you this question. What do you think will be the first big X factor for the Phillies to make a postseason run here?
For me, it's runners in scoring position and the three-headed monster of Kirkering, Strom, and I'll say Alvarado when he gets back. I think those three guys are going to be huge for your bullpen. And just hitting with runners in scoring position, like those timely hits when you get to the playoffs are absolutely huge. So that's going to be like the main X factor for me, is just hitting with runners in scoring position, because this team has gone through some dry spells on that front for sure. So hopefully they can clean that up.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the biggest X factor here too is that, like you even brought up, is that the bullpen has to be consistent, and also the same thing that has to be said about the starting nine. I mean, the starting pitch is already there. I think that's going to be the biggest X factor, how much that starting pitching would be something. But Austin, the same question to you. What would be your X factor for this upcoming postseason for the Phillies to do if they want to make a big postseason run here in the next week or so?
2 words: bullpen consistency. You need to be able to have that tail end of the game be solid going into games, like sort of like how we saw with that game on Tuesday, and even the loss on Saturday against San Diego. The bullpen just sort of folded a little bit and gave up, key base runners in key situations, pitches being left up in the zone that are getting sent a mile. And honestly, more sort of, I believe it was the game on Tuesday, glossing back into that, some really rough umpiring this past week too. A
Yeah.
lot of pitches that are very clearly out of the zone being called, pitches that are in the zone not being called. That whole Matt Chapman at bat was an absolute disaster.
Oh, horrible.
Would have put
Ryan
it was
Cookman had him struck out 3 times.
Yeah.
Beautiful
That was
pitches on the outside half. Absolute
brutal.
paint.
Painted
Absolute
the corner.
dots. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the pitches were there. It's just the ump didn't give the call. So hopefully you get some umpires that sort of fix their zones in the second half of the season, because there have been some pretty rough ones recently.
Yeah, absolutely. Connor, you had a question, or you want to follow up on what the X factor could be too?
No, I was just saying that Kirkering Chapman at bat, like Phil Cousins was absolutely brutal. Like
Yeah.
I've heard the argument like from people online in the past. It was like I'd want, like, if I was a referee, I'd want no one to know my name, because then I'd actually be good at my job.
Yeah, right. That's true.
You would either be really good at your job or really bad at your job.
Yeah,
that's why
right.
everyone knows who Angel Hernandez and Laz Diaz are.
Beat me to it. Exactly right. All right. So, yeah, I mean, that's a very good point by both of you guys, especially with that umpire situation, because during the week, I remember hearing all the sports talk on 97.5 and also WIP about how much Rob Thompson didn't charge that mound after those pitches that could have been a strike. I mean, if this was like Charlie Manuel or Larry Bowa or even like a Terry Francona, you would be sure you have your hands full with one of those umpires. I mean, the craziest thing about it is that even when he was like about to approach the mound, it was like saying, you know what, maybe I shouldn't get involved in that. But back then, if that strike was not called a strike, down the road, that umpire is gonna have, in the words of Judas Priest would say, you got another thing coming, you know. So
yeah.
that's,
I mean, honestly,
for sure.
I feel like even Kapler would have came out and said something.
Oh yeah,
they
could see that.
Were brutal.
I could see Joe Girardi do that. I mean, Joe Girardi
Girardi would have never let him hear the end of it. The entire rest of that series.
Oh my!
Anytime he went to argue something else, he would have turned to Phil Cousins and been like, and he would have gotten thrown out.
Yeah. Well, you know, we all know that Aaron Boone will be not holding back either. If that was Aaron Boone.
Oh my gosh, Aaron Boone's been letting people have it this year, man. He's not playing around.
Yeah. You know, every time I think of Aaron Boone, I say to myself, they should just put like a prop bet out of like how many times he's going to get ejected. You should put like a prop bet, like what innings he's going to get tossed. I mean, I always thought of that too. I said, you know, that would it would be like you'll be definitely getting your money's worth for sure. All right, so let's move on here. So let's begin our player spotlight here. So I only had a couple questions here for the weekly recap. So we basically dissected all we wanted about that. But overall, during the week, Christopher Sanchez looked like he was in a lot of the headlines because of that all-star snub that he had along with Trey Turner and Nick Castellanos. Trey Turner, on the other hand, said that it was an absolute bleeping joke. And also Nick Castellanos talked about giving a little bit of a shade to the Savannah Bananas and all that too. So, Connor, I'll ask you this question to begin this topic here. So, you see the snubs that the Phillies had in the All-Star game this year. What was your immediate reaction when you heard the news about Sanchez, Trey Turner, and even like a Castellanos not happy about the All-Star format?
I mean, the absolute abhorrent joke that Major League Baseball has let their All-Star game kind of become. It's like it's just a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Excuse me, like. You're seriously gonna let a guy who's had five major league starts in the All-Star game over Christopher Sanchez and Ranger Suarez? Like,
that's true.
Like, I'm not trying to get us kicked off of YouTube here, but oh my god, like this is awful. Like,
yeah,
there's no two better candidates that would have been better for the National League than Ranger Suarez and Christopher Sanchez. I
Yep.
mean, like if someone if someone were to name me a guy, I'd say try again. Like, please. Like this,
Yeah.
it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, for sure. I agree 100% on that point too. Austin, I'll ask you this question too. What was your immediate reaction when you hear this news about all the snubs that the Phillies had all this week? I mean, it's like it has like I have to agree with Connor on this one. This is definitely a popularity contest to say the least, right?
Yeah, echoing exactly what JT Realmuto had said in reaction to the Christopher Sanchez and Ranger Suarez snubs, was that it's not who the best players in the league are, it's who the most marketable players in the league are, which isn't necessarily a terrible thing, because you're still marketing the game, but guys aren't seeing the best players in the game. Like, sure, you're getting Shohei Ohtani, you're getting Mookie Betts, you're getting Paul Skeens, Tariq Skubal, like you're getting a bunch of really, really top tier guys, but then you look at how the tail end of the roster gets put together, and it's like every team that didn't already get one voted in gets a guy, and then it's injury replacements and guys that decide to elect to sit out and things like that. Like, I understand, give this kid a look. He's been solid so far, but I feel like there has to be, for pitching, there has to be a minimum requirement at this point.
Yeah, and the other thing too is hang on a second. So yeah,
it's like
the other thing
there have been times where there have been hitters and pitchers voted in who have been injured all year.
Yeah, and what the craziest thing about it is too, I never thought I would say something like this, but the thing that drives me crazy about the day and age of All-Star games, like the baseball one was actually more saner than anything else. I mean, the football one was starting to get tiring, then they went to football, and now it's just like iffy. I mean, basketball hasn't done a part in they haven't done like a good All-Star game maybe in a long, long time. Probably gone back to like Michael Jordan was still playing or something in that effect.
I would probably say that, like, around the time of like the Vince Carter dunk contest.
Right.
I feel like that was the end of a true era with the NBA All-Star game. Like, it's still fun and it's still great and everything. Like, you still get all the All-Star games now are just pure entertainment value. Like, MLB, I believe they still do it. Winner of the All-Star game gets home field advantage in the World Series. I believe it was a thing they did for a while. I don't know.
They did for a while. I think they got rid of it a few years ago. You know when they got rid of it? I think they got rid of it right after the Cubs, because the Cubs had the -- 1 seed that year, and they had to go to Cleveland to win the World Series, and they actually looked like they finally
because the AL had won the World Series, the All-Star game.
All-Star game. Yep. Yeah. The other thing too, you know what? The NHL did a very good job with that this year too, with the Four Nations. I would love to see them do that again, especially maybe this year or probably next year, depending on. Well, actually, I don't think next year, because the Olympics will be next year, but in
next year, and
27 will be definitely something to keep a close eye on too.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, yeah, to your points and you guys make very good points here about this too, is because the thing, like the All-Star game, I used to like the home run derby and see like Ken Griffey hit home runs, or Mike Piazza, or even the list goes on and on. Now it's just like, it's kind of like it's like a spectacle. Like, it's like too much, like it's like in the words of Anthony Gargano, like you spin nickels on your forehead to try to impress somebody. But overall, at the same time too, it's just that it's starting to get boring. It's starting to not get fun anymore. I mean, I remember when I was a kid and would watch like Ken Griffey hit like bombs out, or like a Mike Piazza, and even like Barry Bonds, even though he was all juiced up, or even like a Ryan Howard. But at the same time too, I mean, it was like actually fun to see. It was actually fun and entertaining, and at the same time too, that's what's missing. It's just that it's just turned into like a heads and tails kind of competition, or how many home runs can you hit before you beat the clock. It's just it's started to just. It's started to like lower down the fun anymore. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like more than anything, like when you look at those old home run derbies, like I personally, I always look at the Bobby Abreu year.
Oh yeah,
where he won the derby and he was having a really rough batting year going into that. won the Derby, and became one of the best hitters in baseball for the second half of the season. Like, there's sometimes where this kind of thing can really get a guy going offensively. But I feel like you don't see that as much anymore. Like Pete Alonso won it the 2 years in a row, and he sort of fell off a little bit in the second half. Same thing with Schwarber a couple of times when he's won it. Vlad Guerrero Jr. when he got it. Julio Rodriguez fell off a little bit after he had won the one that he had won. Like,
that's true.
There have been some really notable names that have sort of seen a dip nowadays with the home run derby because of the fact that you're trying to beat that clock. You're using gas in the tank that could be useful, come late August, early September, and your team needs those runs, but you sort of used a lot of your mental power and your physical power trying to beat this arbitrary clock that doesn't matter for this home run derby, where it used to just be you get 10 outs.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Because the fact they're trying to speed up the game of baseball as a whole, they then changed the rules for the home run derby to sort of speed that up as well. So
yeah, no question. Connor, you got anything to add before we move on?
Yeah, I think the 10 outs, the home run derby should definitely go back to that. Just have guys like you could potentially have guys hit tanks till like midnight or like 1 a.m. That would just be sick.
True that.
But baseball is in a space where they're trying to get younger fans, and like everybody loves the home run. It's chicks dig the long ball. I know Braves pitchers were actually a part of that ad, but it's true. I mean, oh my God.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think the other thing too about what the home run derby is now, it's like now you can, I mean, with that clock, it's like kind of like a normal thing, especially because like you see pitch clocks all the time in baseball now. It's not like it's like nothing new. But yeah, I'm right there with you guys. I think it's that I would like to go back to that 10 out system, especially to see how many outs they go. But overall, I mean, yeah, after a while, just seeing like try to hit like home runs before they try to beat the clock, and also bonus time. It says like, yeah, it can be like all night. I mean, I can't imagine what it's gonna be like next year at CBP. But the last thing I'll say about this too, about the home run derby, I think it was a time like 10 years ago. It was Todd Frazier who was with the Cincinnati Reds, and he was like basically the hometown expert. Like he was representing the home team of the Cincinnati Reds and winning that home run derby, and that was pretty cool to see too. Like you brought up with Bobby Abreu, Ryan Howard. There was a time it was like Josh Hamilton in 2008 when he had 30 home runs in one round at Yankee Stadium at the end, the old Yankee Stadium. So it was pretty cool to see that too. Yeah, but there was a lot of fond memories, I would say. But I think, like I said before, and again, I'll say it again. It feels like it's just been changed so. It's just changed so much in the last handful of years that it doesn't seem like it's like not the same as it once was too.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think that like when you look at Japanese baseball, their All-Star game thing that they do, their competition, is bunting.
Wow.
There's this bunting. It's the complete opposite of what we do. And it's incredible. Like, yeah, it's bunting. Like it's literally like a point system. There's like targets on like the infield, like just short of the pitcher's mound. And when you bunt and you land it in a certain area, it's a certain amount of points.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
It's almost like a fun little like side game that they do before they get into the true all-star festivity of the actual game itself. And it doesn't take as much time. Even in timed rounds, like it still doesn't take anywhere near as much time as you see with the home run derbies over here.
It's not a bad idea. I think
they had the guys bunt for like an hour and a half, and they're like, "Okay, cool, all right, guys, now time for the game. Let's go." Those same guys that just participated in bunting are now going to actually hit a ball.
Yeah, it's like shuffleboarding, but the only difference is you're bunting at the same time too. So it's pretty. Yeah, wow. That's pretty cool. I actually, you know what? That's the thing, because if they do something like that, maybe something will grab my interest. Because I remember there was a time, I can go back to another All-Star game in the NHL when they had the youngsters game, and you see like Andre Kopitar for the first time, or Andre Mazzaros, or Matt Carl, and I was watching that game when I was a young kid. I said, why did they get rid of it? I mean, it was just something that kept me entertained. I remember there was times I would like play like NHL, like ESPN or NHL, like EA Sports
Doing
games.
all the skills competition stuff, like shooting the
Yeah,
targets and
dude.
whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, that's
think
what's
the only other
missing.
thing-
That's
Yeah, I think the only other things you get with the MLB All-Star Game are like the futures game.
yeah.
You get that, and then you also get like a celebrity softball game, and then it's the home run derby sandwiched in between the two.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, it was fun. Like while it lasted, but at the same time too, it's just like that's the thing. That's what made it so creative too. At the same time too.
Yeah, that I I think that prospect game, like if hockey does decide to go back to a traditional All-Star weekend ever, which hopefully not, but if they do decide to do that, I think the prospect game would be a really cool way to do that. Basically, NHL's answer to the futures game.
Oh, that sounds like that's actually not a bad idea. I like that too.
Yeah, they also used to alternate back and forth between East versus West and USA versus World.
Yeah, right. Well, they did that. They did. I think they did that a few years ago. I think it was when it was in Florida.
They had brought that format back, like North America versus World or something like that.
Yeah. Those were good times to watch, though, especially too. I mean, like I said too, with the youngsters game, especially seeing youngsters versus sophomores. I mean, the NBA still does that. I think they do
the rookie
too.
sophomore game.
Yeah. I mean, I just remember there was times I said, "Wow, this Kopitar kid is good," and even seeing two Flyers.
Gosh.
Just seeing like two Flyers players like even seeing like Andre Mazzaros for the first time and Matt Carl. I mean, on that youngsters game. And this was I think was like when it was in Dallas. And I said to myself 2 years later, I said, "Oh yeah, I remember these guys at the youngster game, and now they're in orange and black." So I mean that's a very good segue here into our next topic here because I got with the All-Star festivities and all that too. But so I want to get your immediate reaction when you hear the news about Zach Wheeler not deciding to be in the All-Star game. So, do you think this was a good move by Zach Wheeler to try to not be a part of this All-Star game? Because I thought it was, I mean, it was interesting, but I kind of understand at the same time too. Austin, what do you think about this news?
I think it's a smart decision for him. He's having a really good year, and there's always the possibility of you get. Even though, the game doesn't matter, you get tagged up a little bit in an all-star game and it can throw your entire mentality off the rest of the way. Mm-hmm. He's having damn near Cy Young numbers again this year. And I feel like if he were to pitch in the all-star game and have that ruin his psyche and ruin his season, he would feel really, really hard pressed by that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Same question to you, Zach. I'm Connor. I mean, sorry about that.
Yeah.
When you hear in the news about Zach Wheeler not being a part of this All-Star game, you think it's a smart move, or you think he should be playing?
Yeah, I do think it's a smart move. Save that $1 million arm for the games that actually matter, and
right.
So I'd rather have it fresh for October than be wasted for an inning in July.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing that I say that's really a positive too for Zach Wheeler is that he's actually from Georgia, so he'll be spending more time with the family and friends. So it'll be something to keep a close eye on too. So I think, I mean, for me, at first I was kind of concerned about it. I was like saying, wow, he could have had the chance to be in the All-Star game. But I said to myself, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and why risk an injury at the same time too? Because you think about the day and age of starting pitching, and also the day and age of pitchers and all that too, that just sit back and say that they just they blow out their arms a lot. I mean, that's the one thing that's the sad reality about baseball is that you could try to pitch 100 miles an hour. It's not something new anymore. I mean. But at the same time, too, when it really matters the most, like Connor alluded to, especially in those later months, that's what it's going to really come down to more than anything.
Yeah, and especially with the way pitching is, like you said, that trying to throw as hard as you can. You can even take every preventative measure possible to be able to save yourself from an elbow injury, and that one pitch could end up making it end up being all for nothing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you think about it. I mean, that's what happened with Steven Strasburg. He was an upcoming star coming up. And he blew out his arm, and he was never the same after that. And I mean, that's the thing about the day and age of baseball. It's like kind of like I bring it up with my buddy Joey Marks a lot on the Pass and Have Sports show about the day and age of like throwers and pitchers. I mean, the day and age. I mean, back then there were pitchers looking to locate the fastball or slider or even like a curveball, breaking ball, and the list goes on and on. Now it's just like how fast can you throw? It's like the day and age of throwers are look like that's why they blow out their arms a lot more than ever, more than anything.
Yeah, because now it's all about average velocity.
Right.
Nothing else truly matters anymore. And the better your average fastball is, the better it's going to make you look.
Right.
You like the day and age of a guy like a Jamie Moyer,
that's true.
Mid to high 80s fastball, but change up curveball slider with stupid movement. This kind of thing just doesn't exist anymore because you have guys that have that kind of stuff, but that slider's like 94. That changeup, there's a guy who has a Vulcan changeup that goes like 93.
Right.
Like everything that these people are throwing are absolute gas now. Yeah. Even their breaking ball stuff, and like their off speed is now speed, and their speed is even more speed. So like it's just it's become a lot more snap decision of a game in terms of the batting against this kind of stuff. Yeah. That also had to evolve. So now you're getting into instead of how we were taught, these guys aren't throwing super fast, so go ahead and try and get on top, get on top of that ball, get the bat down quick. Now they're throwing absolute heaters. Get that load set and just explode at it. Let your hands take you to the ball, get the proper launch angle, get good exit velo, and that thing's going to go.
Right.
So like every action has an equal and opposite reaction. It's one of Murphy's laws.
Yeah.
Right.
As pitching has gotten harder, batting has gotten quicker.
Right.
So these guys at the plate, bat speeds are over 100 miles an hour. O'Neal Cruz has like 3 or 4 home runs that are over 117 miles an hour. Like these guys are absolutely tattooing baseballs now to be able to keep up with these guys that are throwing 103, 104, and then they're breaking you off with 96.
Yep.
Like it's just insane how quickly baseball has evolved to that kind of thing. And sometimes it's at the cost of a pitcher's arm or in Bryce Harper's world, getting that hit on the surgically repaired elbow by like a 98 mile an hour fastball. Like,
yeah, right.
Sometimes those are the factors that you have to deal with the evolution of the game, because the human body is fragile when you really think about it.
Yeah, it's like in the words of aside from a mad scientist.
Yeah, like I got done work on Saturday at 1:00. I did the podcast with Art, and then I hung out with my wife, and she was like, "Do you want to play the Wii?" So we played the Wii for a bit. She got bored. I was like, "I'm gonna play 3 games of Wii baseball." My arm is going to fall off of my body, and it's 2 days later.
Yeah,
because I just immediately had the mentality of like, no fastballs under 93.
Oh my god. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is too, there was times when I was on MLB The Show and I'll play like I try to create a Rotus chap and then try to make him pitch 100 miles an hour, but he couldn't even break the 100-mile-an-hour code. I said, well, obviously this is it's like a creative player, Rotus Chapman, but at the same time too, this is like how long just like 15, 20, maybe like 15 years ago, back before I switched to an Xbox though. But overall,
now I'm seeing YouTube content of the show where people are like, let's see if I could hit a 200-mile-an-hour fastball from Paul Skeens.
Yeah, right.
Jeez.
Oh my god. Dude, it's the wildest thing watching
man.
What these dudes do now.
Yeah, man.
Like dudes are doing like trying to hit inside the park home runs with Ellie De La Cruz at every single stadium. Like, bro, like people go crazy with those games now, man. It's insane.
Yeah, it's funny, but at the same time too, it's like they're actually making it more. I mean, it's fun at the same time if you're playing a video game like that, but in real life too, it's like you see. Like, God forbid somebody, like, throw 100 miles an hour. It's just, like, I mean, I don't even know how Chapman still does it at the age he's at in this day and age. It's just, it's pretty remarkable. But at the same time, too, it's just that, he's been like doing that for like 15 plus years now, and he hasn't stopped.
He's
Yeah,
just
dude.
firing gas.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Randy, he's even bigger than Randy Johnson was back in the day. Even when Randy Johnson, he wasn't hitting 100, but he was hitting like 95 or 96.
Yeah, but it was because he had that incredible like 83-mile-an-hour sweeping slider to be able to pair up with that from the same arm slot, the exact same tunnel every time.
Yep,
Where
absolutely.
like Chapman, it's like my slider might not work today. 104 consistently it is. Like, I'm just gonna serve it up.
Yeah, yeah, he was a great pitcher, you know. I think it was
yeah.
probably. I mean, the true example of a pitcher and a thrower all compiled into one. But speaking of pitchers and throwers, the Phillies made news last night in the MLB Draft by making a move to get Gage Wood from Arkansas, who maybe, if you probably heard this name before, he actually decided to. Actually, no, he actually threw a no-hitter around this time in the College World Series around 2 months ago with Arkansas. So I'll ask you a two-part question to you guys, too, here. How awesome I mean, it's pretty cool to see somebody who just do a no-hitter not like a month ago. I come to the Phillies, so I mean, how I don't know how to ask this question, but how would you? I mean, you would think he would probably come up sooner rather than later. I mean, am I right? Like probably in the next year or so.
I would say probably the window would probably be 2 to 4. Sort of
Okay.
like the same window that we had for Andrew Painter pre-elbow. Because, you know, I mean, the numbers were good for him. I mean, granted, he didn't get a ton of results from his season, but he finished 4-1 with a 3.82 ERA and 69 strikeouts in just over 37 innings. So, I mean, the guy has a fastball that reaches high 90s, really strong curveball. So, I mean, if you can start work with that base and be able to build some other stuff around it, you know, maybe get him a changeup, a two-seamer, a sinker, or something like that, get him a couple breaking pitches to sort of complement that curveball and be able to work out of the same tunnel as that fastball, he'll be a serious problem. I mean, he struck out 19 during the College World Series facing some of the best possible players in the NCAA. So, I mean, he definitely has something about him, but I feel like the numbers just aren't there completely for the senior season. But, I mean, it's definitely a great value pick for Philadelphia because, you know, some of the starters are getting into a bit of a higher age, so you want to start trying to consider for the future. And I feel like Wood was a great pickup.
Yeah, I think so too. Connor, same question to you. You think he'll make a big impact like when he comes up here in the next couple years?
Yeah. And my timeline on Gage would probably be in that 2 to 4 year range. I would have to agree with Austin. Like the level of competition between college and professional baseball is just so astronomically different. Like you can't just jump a guy up from college baseball to the major leagues. Like it's just not possible. Like
Sure.
Unless he's that one closer, I believe it was with the White Sox, that throws like 103.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, but other than that, it's not really possible to get a guy from college baseball to right to the major leagues. So I would give him about 2 to 4 years, and I do expect him to make an impact when he does inevitably come up. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you guys too, basically too. I would say 2 years maybe if that's the case, depending on the situation that the Phillies have, like Andrew Painter still coming up, or Mick Abel, depending on that situation too, or what they do with that front too. The thing I like about this pitcher is that I like to see him. I mean, you always worry about that one word that's been always saying, okay, he's a young pitcher, and he's like throwing heat and all this stuff, like we just brought up with the Tommy Johns and all that too. I mean, but for me, I mean, I think if the Phillies find a way to like try not to like wait until the last minute to bring him up. I think at the same time too, if you bring him up like in like a 2 year period and you find out what you have in store with him, I mean that I think that gives him some time to think about that, and also and especially spending some time in the minors is the most important key here too. So I don't think right away he will be a big impact, but I think at the same time too, I mean it would be good to know to see what you have with the Painters and the McGables for the time being until the guy's ready to finally come up here more than anything.
Yeah, and especially more than anything, like I had touched on earlier, you want to make sure the development is right.
Right.
You want to make sure that he's aside from injuries and potential surgeries that may be needed, you want to make sure that the main thing that doesn't happen is the yips.
Sure.
He could potentially, the lights could end up being too bright and this guy can't find the plate at all. Yeah. So you really do hope and pray that, there's the possibility that he doesn't have that happen on top of everything else. And, he's a young kid, so I feel like he's going to be more malleable for the coaching staff to be able to work with as he progresses his way through our system. And honestly, it's another potential high chip prospect that we have available. Should, a deal need to be made and we can move somebody around, he could potentially be somebody that you look at for that. But I don't really see that being the case, because with where you picked him in the draft, you obviously had your eye on him for a while. So you want to keep him around and definitely get to be able to work with him for sure.
Yeah, no question about it. I think we just lost Connor here, so I think he'll be back in just a sec. So yeah, I'm in the same boat as you with Connor, like you were just bringing up here, especially with that 2-4 year period. So for me, what it really comes down to, it's going to be about what the team will do, especially with the other two pitchers that they got in line. So, I mean, it will be interesting to see. I mean, especially what they'll do with Suarez at the end of the year and what they do with other, I can expect, obviously, in the next couple of years, there will be not Nola. Well, it'll be Wheeler, Sanchez. I would guess Andrew Painter, depending on Aaron Nola, if he continues to be consistent. And also, you could put Gage. You can put Wood on that list too. So that's just like hindsight being 2020, depending on what they do with the Andrew Painters and even what they do with McGable for the time being too. So that will be something to keep a close eye on too, more than anything.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot of question marks going forward because as from what we had heard, Wheeler intends to retire at the end of his contract, which is after the 2027 season. So there's going to be a very large spot in this rotation to fill, and then even worse is if anyone else happens to potentially find their way out into another team. You have voids that you will potentially have to fill with other guys, either within or through things like trades and free agency. So there's going to be a lot of question marks with this roster coming up in the next 3 to 4 years. So you really hope that they have the ability to be able to answer those questions instead of bringing up even more with what they end up doing.
Yeah, so Connor's back here, so we were just talking about like what his window would be like, especially the next couple of years or so, if depending on the situation, what they'll look like. So the question I want to ask you before we move on here, we talked about that you said it will be a 2-4 year period for Gage Wood to come up to the pros, but the thing I wanted to ask you, Connor, I think this will be a very good question to ask here, is that once he is up in the major leagues, you think he'll make you think he'll be a good impact here, especially with all the rotation, the players you got like Andrew Painter and McGable coming up in the near future too?
Yeah, I do think he'll make a really big impact. He's also obviously he's also shown the ability to be a big game pitcher. So that's obviously a huge plus for this Phillies team. You can never have enough pitching when it gets to playoff time. Obviously, his major league time is 2 to 4 years away. So it's not something that's like imminent or anything like that. But when he does come up here, he's probably gonna have a big impact and be in some big moments. So I'm really excited for Gage Wood to eventually debut.
Yeah, and it'll be fun to watch too. All right, let's move on here before we get we got a couple more topics here before we get out of here because I'd like to get your opinion on this too. So we talked about the home run derby like early on in our show, especially that is tonight actually. But is there any players out here that in this home run derby that you like? You'd be anxious to see what he has in store here tonight. For me, it's Cal Raleigh more than anything to see how much home runs just to see how much he's been on a tear as of lately. Probably see another mixture of Josh Hamilton, like I brought up at Yankee Stadium in 2008. So this is a two-part question for you guys. I mean, who do you like in this home run derby, or even if you're interested in this home run derby tonight, guys? Like, who would you like to win in this home run derby?
Yeah, personally, my favorite to win is Cal Raleigh. Of course, the guy's been absolutely hammering the ball. But my dark horse for this is actually Byron Buxton. Buxton definitely can hit for power. He's shown it in the multiple seasons that he's been around. It's just injuries have been sort of his big downfall for the most part. But he's actually slugging pretty well this year. His OBP, his OPS are both pretty high, and I definitely want to see how well he can do in this because I feel like he finally has a season where he's been able to get that nod and be able to stay healthy all the way up to it, almost like a Ken Griffey Jr. type of situation where he's on pace to be an all-star, gets hurt, isn't able to hit the all-star game. He ends up missing it, and you wonder what could have been. And now we're finally getting to see him participate not only in an all-star game but a home run derby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the craziest thing about it is too with Cal Raleigh, just to see how much he's been on a tear. Like I kind of wanted to see Kyle Schwarber go toe to toe with him, just to see just like hindsight, like just two of the the two best players in the NL and in the AL. I mean, just going back and forth, kind of like we saw a couple years ago with Rhys Hoskins taking on Bryce Harper. Same kind of formula, same kind of scenario here too. But obviously, the thing about with home run derbies is that we brought up early on in the show is that after they have the home run derby, they kind of take a little bit of a setback of their game, obviously, and you think about what the circumstance might be. So overall, I mean, the other thing that really makes it, the one thing that makes it even more, I mean, I wouldn't say I am interested because I like the home run derby. I've always watched it for years. But maybe that's the only one guy I'm going to keep a close eye on to see what we'll be anxious to see, especially because just Raleigh just hitting the ball out of the park. I mean, I would love to see him next year do the same thing at CBP for our chance to see the All-Star game come to Philadelphia. But Connor, do you have a favorite in this home run derby, even though there's no Phillies involved?
Yeah, it's for me it's Cal Raleigh. I mean, I'm excited to see him put on a show. And obviously, like, I really like Austin's dark horse Byron Buxton pick. I feel like
that's a good one.
Buxton finally having a fully healthy season. He'll definitely want to show out in front of like a national audience. So look for him not only tonight but tomorrow in the All-Star game. Like he's probably / definitely going to put on a really good show. So I'm excited to see both guys perform. So that it should be a fun All-Star. Well, I guess not weekend, but All-Star festivities. So yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah, and well, speaking of All-Star festivities, that's actually the topic. I actually put it out as this All-Star game festivities for the portion of our topic sheet here. But overall, that aside, so next year the Phillies get the chance to host the All-Star game in 26. So for me, I think the one thing that will make me it will be fun. It will be fun to see an All-Star game here in Philadelphia. I think the last time it happened was in around the four sports teams was 2002. I think the NBA All-Star game was like the Sixers hosted at the time was the First Union Center. I think I can't remember the last time. I think so. I think it was the last time. Yeah, and it will be interesting to see what they do with that. But overall, I mean, finally we get a chance to see an All-Star game here in Philadelphia. Probably for the first time in my lifetime, I've seen. I mean, obviously, the last time the Phillies did it was in '96, but the difference was in '96, I was just like a young buck at the time. I think it was Ricky Patalga was the only lone All-Star player in that. But what do you think your expectations would be like in '26 with this MLB All-Star game coming to Philadelphia? Austin, I'll start with you.
It's just another thing to add on to the pile of incredible things happening for the city of Philadelphia in 2026.
Yeah,
You get the baseball All-Star game, and you have the World Cup happening here at the same time.
that's right.
Yeah, and the Gold Cup happening as well. They had some matches in Philadelphia for that. We also had some Club World Cup matches. So there's been a lot of stuff just happening even in 2025 in the city of Philadelphia for sports, and just getting the MLB All-Star game in 26 to coincide with some matches during the World Cup is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Connor, what are your expectations for this All-Star game coming to Philadelphia next year? Are you excited about it, or how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think I think the city's gonna show out like they always do for big events. Like there's gonna be a lot of a lot of vendors around the ballpark. They're gonna get a lot of publicity that they wouldn't probably otherwise get because of the MLB All-Star game. So
Yeah,
excuse me, it's very, very exciting for the city, and yeah, I can't wait for it.
yeah, and I probably, God bless you. And I think the other thing too with the circumstance with that is I think the last time it happened that was a big festivity was like that. I thought it was 2002, but I remember 2017 the NFL Draft came to Philadelphia, and also we won the Super Bowl. So maybe if the Phillies have the All-Star game at 26, maybe we win a World Series out of it. Maybe try to think just maybe another joy bomb to add to our resume of Philadelphia sports fans. But look, I'm a homer. I can't lie to you. I love this kind of stuff too. But what's that, Connor? Did you want to say something?
What you think?
Yeah. Hey, look, there's nothing wrong to be a homer, man. I mean, like everybody says I'm a homer, but I don't. Look, you gotta support your teams. I mean, I'm like David Putty here on Seinfeld. You gotta support the team. But overall, for me, the one thing I would be really excited to see is that how they will do the format and how they people you have to look at it down, you have to look down and say that it might be probably one of the, I mean, there was a lot of good things that happened at CBP in my lifetime. I mean, the Winter Classic was there in 2012. I mean, we saw a World Series out of it. We saw some good things happen. So I think Philadelphia would do very well with this, like they did with the NFL draft in 2017. And that would be, it's one thing that I'll be very anxious to see what they'll do with this format too, more than anything. All right, so before we get out of here, we're going to talk about our final topic of the night, and this is called the upcoming series previews. Basically, we talk about what the Phillies will look like in the upcoming series, but I'm going to twist it. I'm going to try to twist it just a little bit here because the Phillies don't play until Friday. So, Connor, I'll ask you the first question here, and I'll ask the same question to you, Austin, too. What are your expectations for this Phillies team coming up in the second half of the season? Do we finally break the camel's back and go to another World Series, or how are you guys feeling about it? I mean, what is your expectations for this upcoming second half of the Phillies starting on Friday?
I feel like if the offense can stay potent the way they have throughout the first half, and we can get some more help from the bullpen, I feel like Philadelphia is going to be in a very solid position come playoff time.
Nice. Connor? Did we lose Connor?
Yeah, I think he might have froze out again. Yeah.
Shoot. All right. So I guess I'll answer the question, and so for me, the expectations are it's just that the hitting. I mean that I've been saying this for a while, that the bullpen has to be something, and also the hitting has to be something too. The starting five of the between the Phillies with their starting pitching staff. They get a pass. They're just doing a great job, and I think they have done an admirable job to this point. Overall, the hitting has to come back. That's the one thing that the Phillies did in 2022 rather, when they had the hitting come back and when they were coming back in full stride, and at the same time too, the bullpen was starting to steady down a little bit too. And I want that same kind of formula, the same thing with this Phillies team for the second half of the season. Like, it's not how you start. Obviously, it's not how you start; it's how you finish. But I want to see a team that wants to play consistent baseball. Like, don't try to hit the 5-run homer every chance you get. And also on the outside looking in, it just go out there and play baseball like you want to play baseball. Just like everything about this team, it drives me nuts. I love this team to the thick of bones, I do. But at the same time, it's just like you have to play consistent baseball if you want to win a World Series, and that's the most important key here too, Austin. And the same thing with with Connor too. And I think the other thing that really that we could wrap up here for this Phillies team is that if they can get back to the consistency of what they once were at the point of they were at the beginning of the season, and also on the outside looking in, I mean, I just want to see a team that wants to win a World Series and not just try to fool us in the end. That's the most important part, because we all thought what happened last year in Red October, and everything was like ready to. I mean, we were parading down Broad Street before the parade even started, and they were already out in the NLDS before we even blinked. So I just want to see a team with fight, hard work, and tenacity, and also have the fight to say, we're going to bring that trophy back to John Middleton where it's rightfully belonged. All right, that's going to do it for this portion of the show here tonight. Austin, I want to say thanks for joining me once again here tonight. Oh, we got Connor one last time. Don't mind the cat in the background. He looks to hear himself. That's the same thing that happened a couple days ago. Same thing a couple days ago too. Connor, before we go here, man, what are your expectations for this Phillies team in the second half before we wrap up here?
I expect them to continue the momentum they ended the first half with, and I expect them to I expect them to win the division and hopefully not get bounced in the NLDS.
I don't know, my friend. As do I, my friend. I was just talking about that same thing too. So Austin and Connor, since I got you on here before we wrap up here, when's the next time we'll see you guys on this very important program or whatever podcast you got going on?
I believe I am back on here next week. Let me just double check really quick. The schedule for the next week hasn't been put out just yet. So as soon as I find that out, we will know. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be on here next week. If not, sorry, I have to reach in front of my microphone right down here, twitch.tv/Hambo26. I actually just did a Dungeons and Dragons one-shot adventure last night with a few friends. I'm going a bit long, so that one-off thing is now a two-parter. We're going to be picking that up on Tuesday.
Nice.
Aside from that, just random games throughout the week, just random nonsense. So,
hell yeah,
pretty much it.
That's awesome, man. Connor,
and then on the Hardcore Play and Rewind channel on Saturday, my buddy Art and I will be talking about the cooperative climbing game Peak.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
so it's a Saturday, right?
Yes, Saturday will probably be around 2:30. I have work until 2 p.m. So
sweet.
Gonna have to. Usually it's around between noon and 1 because I usually only work until 1. But the Saturday I have an extra hour in.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm just getting distracted by the cat over here. Sorry about that. So, Connor, same question to you. Where can people see you next?
So, tomorrow I'll have the Phillies first half review podcast on my Sports Live in the 215 YouTube channel. And all of our social medias are the same. Sports Live in the 215. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all the things. So follow us over there, subscribe, share, all that YouTube stuff. And thanks again, guys. This is always fun.
Yeah, you got it, buddy.
Always fun chatting it up about Phillies baseball.
Yeah, man. And of course, likewise. And For me, I got a busy week this week too. I got Philly Fame Legends coming up this week. We're talking some Phillies, maybe some those birds that winning a Super Bowl, a little bit of Brian Dawkins. Maybe we'll keep that until a later one because football season's coming before you know it. By the way, if you haven't seen it yet, there's a couple of Philly Fame Legends on our Stream Punk Entertainment page, and I think on Hardcore Sports Network. But like we always say, hit that like and subscribe button on our social media platforms. We really do appreciate it, and everything about that included. Guys, I want to say thank you for joining me again today. I really do appreciate it. You guys killed it like we always do. And now for everyone behind the scenes, now for everyone that made it work here, for Austin, for Connor, for myself, I want to say thank you for everybody that tuned in, and thanks for everybody for watching. Enjoy the All-Star break, everybody. Until then, we will see you guys next time, and go Phils.